Welcome to Voices of Innovation. I'm Cecilia, founder of the Catalytic site, where I guide scientists as they move from academia into biotech. Join me as I speak with entrepreneurs, researchers, and talent leaders driving innovation and building the companies of tomorrow. If you are considering a career in biotech or simply want to understand the sector from the inside, this is your new favorite place. Welcome to another episode of Voices of Innovation. This podcast is all about sharing real stories from people who are building, or in some cases, rebuilding their careers in biotech, often across countries, cultures, job titles. For the first episode of the new year, I wanted to focus on something very current, which is the job hunting process itself, and what it actually feels like when you are in the middle of it. I'm Francesca, that's why I'm really happy to have you here today. You've done your PhD in Italy, you work in academia for a long time in the US, and transitioned into industry at Regeneron. And as you recently relocated to London and are thinking about your next steps, I wanted to focus today's conversations on transitions between academia and industry, between countries, and also between languages. So let me start by asking you to walk me through your journey so far and how you got here. Thank you.
Good morning, Cecilia. Thank you so very much for inviting me, and I'm very happy to be the first one of 2026. Hopefully this will open many other doors and connections and meeting new nice people. It has been 2025, as you said, it has been a year full of movements in my life and transitions. I have to say, as you said, I had my PhD in Italy and I studied in Italy. So my first transition was in 2014 when I moved from Italy to United States to follow my dream of becoming an academic researcher, having my own lab, and I wanted to have a new experience in a new country. That's why I moved to United States. I had the feeling that in Italy, in that reality, I was giving a lot and I couldn't take any more. There were not lessons for me to learn at that time. And in my case, the pace was, I had the feeling in my case, or because of my personality, is that the pace was very slow. That's why I wanted to change. I wanted to change towards a more dynamic reality in science and research, more practical, because at that time when I was in Italy and I was a PhD student, even to get the approval to buy something, we had to wait 3 months. And then I was thinking, it's like, come on, in 3 months we can get the material, do the experiment, have preliminary results, and maybe apply for some early career grants. It's too much for me. That's why I decided to move to United States. I was lucky, I have to say, I was lucky enough to find this postdoctoral opportunity and move to United States, where clearly the environment was way more dynamic. It was really like that. You needed an antibody, you place an order, the antibody comes to you the day after, and you can already to plan the experiment and actually do the experiment. You plan the experiment the day you buy a reagents to do it the day after. Also, I had the feeling in terms of mentorship, I needed to have to see other perspectives, other way to do science. I really needed to have someone to see new realities. There is not only one that is the right one to follow. There are many others, and then you pick the one that you think is the best for you, for your thinking. But I had the feeling that I needed to be exposed. Collaborations were not enough for me anymore. I really needed to go there and see the reality of how things were done in a different context and situation. I have to say actually that even within United States, I had the transition because after 6 months, I moved to United States in North Carolina. I was at Duke at first. Then my boss at that time and my mentor decided to close the center and move to New York, which was amazing for me. I was like, oh my God, New York, the city that never sleeps. I was so happy. And that was even a more dynamic environment. I was very happy where I landed. Of course, I think then also speaking with other friends and colleagues, the first postdoc is most likely or rarely the very first one that makes people happy.
Mm-hmm.
So I changed after 1 year I was there. I gave myself 1 year. It's like, okay, let me see how I can adapt, if I like it, how is the environment, how is my boss, and then I move forward. Yeah. I don't think that was the place for me, the lab for me and for my career. So I ended up in another lab at Columbia University, always in New York, and I stayed there for good 8 years. So I was like postdoctoral, and then I was promoted as an associate research scientist, just to say that was a good place with good people, with good project. And I was doing in vitro, in vivo animal model, clinical trials. So it was very, very, very stimulating. I was working at a clinical research, other than leading the projects of basic scientists to discover the basic mechanism and biomarkers associated to a specific disease, and then trying to, fix the disease, targeting that biomarker. I was also involving in translational studies, how to apply this in humans. So there were clinical trials that I was involved in, and it was amazing. It was amazing. The group was great, was very much focused on your career, on the career. They were helping, they were sustaining the scientists, they were sustaining and supporting the human being. Mm-hmm. They were supporting the foreigner. So that's very important. So they understood that, the culture is different, the language is different. They are. The lab is still up. And I saw it expanding, actually. We started and I was the only postdoc. One PI, one other associate research scientist, and now there are 4 or 5 PIs, techs, 2 or 3 clinical research coordinators, 3 postdocs. I saw it exploding, and I'm so proud of that. And I hope they're proud of me, but I don't know. And then I moved to industry. The main reason is that brought me to industry is the fact that I needed to be exposed to other new things, because once you see, let's see, if we think about science and medical science, we want to identify the basic molecular mechanism, we want to fix it. So we do this in a lab. We want to fix it. We still test it in a lab. Then we move into human. Yeah. And I was exposed to that. But it was still research part. But then I was like, how can we make drugs that really have a more direct impact on what I'm doing? And again, I had this big opportunity to get into Regeneron, which is a big antibody therapeutics worldwide company. Yeah. And that I was clearly able to see the impact of my work in the terms of whatever I'm doing, I know that in, probably 6 months, we can start to prepare to file the application for the FDA. and start to plan the clinical trial. Amazing. To really administrate our findings, our drug to the patient. So that was really, really stimulating to see the direction of what I was doing.
Yeah.
Plus, it opened up another world, which is the entire drug development work, and how you need to be flexible, how you need to be able to cross-coordinate with the different departments, because it's not only one that plays the role. Is everybody going to all the different departments that are going towards the same goal, but they really need to be coordinated properly. Yes. And there is a cross-communication, cross-coordination, which was exposing me a lot to all the different functions, and I started to be passionate about them as well. And I don't know, maybe opening new way of, being a scientist that goes beyond the bench activity.
Yes, definitely. And you mentioned the fact that, of course, like in your postdoc, you've been lucky enough to be exposed to lots of, to really the impact that you could see by working still in preclinical, but there was always the idea of translating these results into the clinic potentially. And then in Regeneron, you had the opportunity to actually do that, so to put that in practice. And you also mentioned the fact that, cross-functional work, and it's something that I think coordinating, working with others, as I see it for the line of job that I do, I see in every single CV, often also from people that are still in academia, that are looking to transition into industry. They still put it there because, of course, also in academia, you work with lots of different people, maybe from different departments, but you mention it as a central point, central focus in your activities in Regeneron. In your opinion, what's the main difference from saying you work cross-functionally within academia and the cross-functional work that you are doing in industry?
Yeah, so in academia, it can be cross-functional, it's true, but it's more based on a collaboration. That means, in my opinion, that not necessarily vinculate you to do that, or you do not really have a sense of belonging in that cross-functional activity. In academia, yourself moving forward your project, and you know that you need that cross-functional coordination to move your own projects, your own activity, your own grant forward. So it's necessary, but not indispensable, let's say. In industry, without it and without that cross-functional coordination, you cannot go anywhere. Because each single function brings something that is extremely useful and indispensable to move the drug candidate forward. Without it, it's a chain. It's literally a chain that if it breaks, you cannot fix it. You cannot move forward. You need to fix it. If in academia is broken, you find another collaboration. You find something else, someone else that can do that for you. But without it, you can move forward anyway. You can find a B plan. In industry, it's really like we need to make it work, because otherwise we cannot do it. We cannot move forward. It's as simple as
that. Or nothing else, basically.
It's vital. It's vital.
Absolutely. Within Regeneron, like, were there any opportunity that maybe you haven't known existed before joining?
Totally. I was so focused in a bench and experimental job that at that point of your career that there is all the drug development process, but you don't know actually what comes after you identify the drug candidate.
Yes.
So there is all the medical affairs field, the medical, which includes also the medical science liaisons, activities. There is a lot of coordination or interactions that you have to have with healthcare professionals. There is all the regulatory field. So you really need to be careful. And everything that you do has to be documented and stored, because there are regulatory institutions that are controlling and wanted to they need to take a look. They need to be able to see what has been done. And this is something that you can clearly see, something that is completely different of writing a protocol in academia compared to writing a protocol in industry, of an SOP of what you are doing, or even of the daily experiments that what you are doing. You really need to document everything, catalog number, and for some experiments, even the lot number. We need to write down everything, because there are, the regulatory, and then, which are things that you don't think about. And then as I was telling you, the launch, like once you have the drug candidate, there is all the launch of the drug candidate. So you really need to prepare to have the knowledge of, for example, also of the marketer and of the competitor. And you have to say why your drug is better than the other, and you have to prepare the package, and you have to also start to think about what can be your KOLs, the key opinion leaders that you need to interact with to start to put the drug into patients. It's all those things that you don't think about when you are in academia, because you are focused on the preclinical. Then you think about later, and there is a new word that a scientist with a PhD, it's exposed, and we can clearly bring our skills in that field, in that sector.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you think that, of course, like you mentioned the fact that writing protocols, SOPs in industry, it's very much regulated. You really need to annotate everything, to sign everything, date everything, for example. And it may seem that, it can slow down the discovery process compared to academia. But at the same time, industry work, at such a fast pace that you really need to be always on, basically. How did you manage that duality of having to be more structured in your work, but also, up to speed with everything else?
Not alone. You are not alone in doing that. So it's the entire team. We go back to the collaboration idea. It's the entire team that does that. It's very much, and as you said, it's a matter of structure. If it is very well structured, it's annoying. I agree with you. Doing all these things, it's annoying, but you have to do it. And ideally, the good industry, the good structure, the good group put you in the situation of doing the right work. It's part of your job. It's really part of your job, and they acknowledge that, you have to dedicate a certain time on doing this and doing this properly.
Yes.
So they know that.
It makes sense. Thank you. And thinking about, your relocation from New York to London, after several years of working in the US, both in academia, of course, and in industry, how do you think that this relocation has influenced the way you think about your career, your next step?
So it's just to connect with the flow. It's a very fast environment in industry, and United States is very fast paced. you are exposed. I was exposed to also different way of doing science and using my skills, but probably at that time, because I was so fast, I had duties, I had deadlines. I was not really exploring alternative careers that I was, I had the skills to do. Then this, let's say, forced relocation happened for family reason, and then you start to, sit down, set a step back, sit down, think about your skills, think about what I got, what are my skills, what I got, what I want to do, what I don't want to do, what I really want to explore, what is the field that doesn't fulfill me anymore, for example. So it's like, I gave enough, this field doesn't give me anymore anything that I can progress. And being exposed to other settings and other departments and other functions, you start to think about, and you prove, because at least I had connection, I had communications, that some of them were successful, and I was like, okay, I could be good in this. So this relocation helped me to sit down, slow down, sit down, and think about, okay, these could be new opportunities for me to explore. And that's why, I'm starting a new challenge. I started to study for getting the board certificate of medical affairs. So it was a forced stop that helped me to reevaluate stuff.
Yes.
And think about what I want to do, but also what I don't want to do anymore, because I feel it doesn't fulfill me anymore. Which is maybe my suggestions, for instance, is, for example, also not think about necessarily what you want to do, but helping you understand what you don't want to do. It's already a way to move forward.
Absolutely. It's something that I see often, actually, like these external circumstances. It could be moving across countries, like in your case, or maybe start building a family as well, like everything that changed the dynamics that we have set up for our lives. And it kind of forces us, or maybe it just gives us the permission to slow down, and reflect about what we really want. And it's actually quite important to do that, because often we are on a track and we're going very fast in one direction that we maybe chose, a decade ago, before we started our PhD and everything. And there is no the time or the space really to stop and think about what we're doing, where we're going. So it's actually quite important, quite useful to do at some point in your life.
Exactly. Or not only thinking about for ourselves, or what are our priorities and what we want to do, but also thinking about, how the systems works, and if there is something that we can change.
Yes.
Given our skills, if there is something that either we can change or we can ameliorate. Like I was thinking, how I can put together my academic experience with the industry experience, because for what I saw in academia is that there are so many great scientists that do many great discoveries, but then where those discoveries go? In industry, you get that strategic mindset that let you understand what is an investment worth, So it's like, can I put those things together and serve as a bridge between the academic and the people that want to invest in certain discoveries? If it is worth it, how is the market? How is the market related to these discoveries? So those are all things that can can really be food for thought. They go beyond what you want, but sparkle your current curiosity and can open new paths, for example.
Where you can have the most impact, the biggest impact. Before we close this episode, I want to pause for a moment.
What you just heard isn't a story about having everything figured out, but about arriving at a point of recalibration after moving between academia and industry, between countries, and between different ideas of what it means to be a scientist. This felt like a good place to stop because it captures the context and the reflection that often come before the next step. If you're listening and you find yourself in a similar phase, questioning, slowing down, or rethinking what comes next, I hope this conversation helps normalize the moment. Transitions don't always require immediate answers, sometimes they require space. We'll stop here for today and we'll continue the conversation with Francesca next week, focusing on what happens after the pause, the reality of job hunting and navigating uncertainty when you are in the middle of change.